was this one day, James and Betty, where I had to go to a doctor's appointment where I knew that the treatment was going to hurt worse than the last one. And we got in that car with tears just streaming down our face, and I thought, how do we do this? Like, I hadn't heard that sermon. How do you go back? How do you go back to that home that is empty, that marriage where there's no love, that treatment center where it's just going to be so painful? And there was this song that was playing on the radio, and it was Matt Redman's 10,000 Reasons. And there was that passage in the book of Habakkuk, and I know that you're familiar with it. It's that moment when he cries out in chapter 3, verse 17, and he says, though the fig tree should not blossom and there be no fruit on the vines, though the yield of the olive should fail and the fields produce no food, though the flock should be cut off from the fold and there be no cattle in the stalls, yet I will exult in the Lord. I will rejoice in the God of my salvation. And I began to go, Lord, but how do I do that? How do I do that in this? And what Leif, my husband, and I began to discover is that you do it 1 square inch at a time. And on that drive, we began to praise, those hot tears running down our faces, lifting up the name of our Lord on high. And what we began to discover is that you can rejoice when it makes no sense. And that suddenly that doctors' offices and waiting rooms could be transformed into portals of praise. There was a day that I climbed in that crazy machine I like to call Ride the Donut at the hospital, the MRI machine, that one where you think, nobody can hear you and you sit still. And I'm sitting there and I'm laying there in fear of the results. And I remember wondering, has anybody praised God from this latitude and this longitude? And ever so faintly began offering up words of praise. What I began to discover is in the midst of this painful journey, there are ways that we can grab onto joy and fight back with it.